immediately founded my own law firm practice in the name of Abdul Hakim and co-advocates. And I have grown that to a firm of 2 partners and 5 advocates and other support staff, which we offer services to government agencies, private entities, and I've worked with quite a number of government agencies in terms of legal services. All the premier corporations actually in the country in terms of, and I'm still including the commission. I'm actively handling matters for the commission, and it's good that to disclose that at this stage. So the
commission, you mean IEBC?
Yes.
Okay.
So the net effect of all that work experience is that it has given me and especially even my recent exposure to electoral processes. We have been trained on electoral processes by the Commission and UNDP, election technology issues of dispute resolution, and we're actively exposed actually to the process and everything. So the net effect of my experience in terms of policy, in terms of management, finance, and the diverse background gives me the feeling that I can fit into this role, and that is why I applied for the position. So that is the reason in terms of my general introduction. Chair, on the same note, I want to add an additional issue, which is the issue of persons with disabilities. In my close interactions with IEBC and in the course of preparation of this interview, I've gone through reports and I've had first-hand interaction with the commission. And the law, a lot of principles, legal principles on inclusions of persons with disabilities and marginalized in electoral processes. The Constitution provides express articles on even percentages, on inclusivity, and then it also forms as part of the general principles of electoral processes, like fair representations of persons with disabilities. The chapter, or rather the article incorporating IEBC in the Constitution, talks about fair representation of persons with disabilities. The IEBC Act goes ahead and talks about persons with disabilities. The point I'm trying to make is that I'm not the only person with disability who has been shortlisted and applied for this position, but this panel has a unique opportunity to include into its consideration a segment of the society that ordinarily feels left out. And years after the promulgation of the Constitution, we're still paying lip service to constitutional principles, because it talked about progressive realization, Article 54. And we had to realize that. I think the only recent commission that made such a consideration was the Public Service Commission. And whatever decision that is made at the apex transcends to the voter. It transcends to the commission staff. I was looking at the report of Uraia Trust on the 2022 elections, and the voter registration itself excludes that group of the society. It says of all the total registered voters, only 0.7%. It's hardly even 1%. 0.7% of the registered voters are PWDs, and that is not the population of PWDs. So whatever decisions that are made at the apex transcend to the lowest level. So with that remark, I think I'll proceed to take your questions.
Thank you very much, Madam Linda, kindly.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Abdi.
Yes, Commissioner.
You you are in a very unique position,
Yes.
whereby you are differently abled,
Yes.
and you are also a youth
Yes.
per se. How do you intend to use your uniqueness and harness that uniqueness in the event that you are fortunate to be given this position of a member of Iebc? And of course, how would you change the attitude of the young people and the differently abled in that position in Kenya today?
Thank you. I intend to use that opportunity, if so granted, to relate with the sections of the society, including youth, PWDs, that feel excluded from mainstream election processes, and in line with the Commission's mandate. So that will extend to voter registration. It will extend to the Commission, within the Commission itself, in terms of recruitment of staff and compliance with constitutional standards, the voter registration process, and make them a stakeholder in this process, so that the noise on the continuous exclusion is put to a stop. And so the voter registration process, the staffing process of the Commission itself, inviting them as stakeholder partners in the forums relating to election processes, and one of the roles of the Commission, as per the Iebc Act itself, is the issue of regulation of political parties itself is also there on the processes. So and making sure that political parties also comply with the inclusion of such parties.
And how, noting that your constituents,
yes,
the Gen Zs and the younger citizens of this country, noting that they are more into social media, and they are very enthusiastic about technology. How would you involve them into voter registration and enlighten them about their voting rights, noting that there are people of TikTok and X and Facebook, generally social media?
So I think, as you said, to reach that segment of the society, definitely you have to adopt their ways, and their ways is the current technology of social media and voter education processes, voter registration processes. Should adapt to the current technologies, including artificial intelligence, AI, in voter education and even the registration of using current technologies, whether it's blockchain or any applicable technology. Once we do probably a review of the technology regulations of the Commission, and that will be a priority to incorporate those current technologies in voter education, voter registration, so that we are up to date and relate with. We don't exclude any group in the process of the electoral process. That is.
Let me ask.
Okay.
When were you admitted to the bar?
2017.
I see that prior to that, you had worked as a consultant in the Ministry of Devolution and Planning.
So, and I was not working in my individual capacity. I was working, and I was given a project of the referendum, defunct Justice and Constitutional Affairs Ministry. I was still a student at the law school, but I had done referendum on civic education in northern Kenya, in the three counties.
So you were working as a consultant?
As a consultant with an organization and purely on civic education of the referendum on the Constitution 2010.
When did you join university?
I joined 2010.
In the year 2010?
Yes.
So, did you have any educational background that you were consulting on? Because a consultant is a professional.
Well, I think I had done, by then I had done my constitutional law 1 and 2. And basically what you are doing is educating members of the public, enlightening them on the upcoming referendum. And I was engaged to that effect by the organization called Southern Aid then.
You, if I heard you right, you said you joined university in the year 2010.
Yes.
And this is the same year that you worked as a consultant.
Yes.
For the Ministry of Devolution.
You know, I was not given an individual consultancy because I did not have the capacity to take an individual consultancy. But I have done the civic education relating to the referendum in under the organization. Okay. So I was tasked with that.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You also
probably a question of semantics.
You also did legal advisory and litigation support for several government agencies,
yes,
including Uwezo Fund,
yes,
oversight.
Yes.
What educational background did you have to offer? Just hold on, sir.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Okay.
What professional background did you have to offer such legal advisory and litigation support when you, I assume this was before you finished your degree? Was it the same year, 2010?
No.
That was prior?
I think it was towards the end of my law degree for Uwezo Fund.
That was at the end?
Yes. So let me elaborate.
But
yes,
let me finish first before you answer.
Okay.
Legal advisory and litigation support. You gave that and you were paid money, in forms of either allowances or salaries or fees when you had not yet finished your degree in law. Am I right?
So let me
expound.
Okay, let me expound on that. My engagement with Uwezo Fund again was not in my individual capacity. Though I've not stated the organization in my CV, it was a consultancy firm called Northlink Development Consultants, and again, probably not litigation, because there was no any litigation process actually involved in that, but it was legal advisory and business advisory services to groups that we were doing trainings, legal support in terms of how to register a company. We were not really doing the registration itself. We were training them on that.
What is the name of the consulting firm?
It's called Northlink Development Consultants.
And you were? In what capacity?
I was engaged as an individual consultant still.
So you still consulting legal advisory for a consulting firm, and you did not have...
I had finished my law degree. I was not practicing before a court. I was using my law degree to offer advisory services.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes. By then, I had secured admission at Kenya School of Law, and I had finished my law degree. And it was about business advisory services, legal advisory, and not court representation.
Only, Chair, to note that legal advisory and consulting work should be done by advocates of more than 25 years of practice. That is a very serious and major work to be done, because you're offering consulting services according to the experience that you have in a certain profession.
I'll request to respond to that issue. Before a consultancy firm, this is a tendering process. It's a tendering process. So before a consultancy firm is awarded a contract to provide any services, they have to submit a bid. That bid has the CVs of the individuals that are required to form part of that consultancy assignment. And this consultancy, ordinarily how it works, is that it will have terms of reference. The terms of reference will provide the specific CVs of the persons they're looking for. It's within their mandate to state that they're looking for somebody with a law degree as part of the team, and as he was incorporated as such into that consultancy. I was not providing any illegal service.
Oh.
Thank you.
And you are legal aid officer in 2011?
It was nothing relating to, again, court issues. It was within, first as an intern, and later on, refugee status determinations, advising them on basic resettlement plans. They were doing what they called security interviews and such.
Was this an attachment, or you are an
I
officer?
began as an attachment. I began as an attachment, and then later on as an officer, but it wasn't long also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Madam Caro, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Abdi, just for my own clarity.
Yes.
Which year did you graduate?
2014.
From the university?
Yes.
And which year did you finish your diploma in law?
I finished 2016. I was late, and then when I finished my pupillage, I finished my pupillage in 2016. I was admitted in 2017.
Okay,
March
you.
2017.
So I allow me to follow up from where Linda left,
Yes.
my colleague.
Yes.
What in your training?
Yes.
Kindly speak to the mic.
Sorry.
To the mic. Yeah, thank you.
What is in your, is it audible? What is in your training
Yes.
and expertise that
Yes.
you have gained over the years
Yes.
speaks to the work of IBC? And how does that help in your role should
Yes.
you become successful
Yes.
in the IBC's, realizing the IBC's mandate?
Okay. My understanding of the role of IEBC, and specifically not the commission but the commissioners, is first of all an oversight function to begin with, and probably the second role I'll say is a strategic, providing strategic directions to the organization, and policy formulation role. Yeah. So as per the Act, Section 11, I think. So as I stated earlier, I had a background in the NGO sector, and I was working in an organization that had different thematic aspects, whether it is humanitarian or governance and all that. I was managing staff, and quite a number. And what that entailed is I was oversighting on their daily operations. I was managing programs, and I said cash programs, even cash programs. I was managing, other humanitarian programs, and that has given me an exposure in terms of management level requirements that is needed for this role. We were doing policy issues also. We were internal policy documents, whether it is on HR, whether it is on procurement, monitoring and evaluation framework, to ensure that projects are in compliance with either internal requirement or donor requirements, and that has given me an exposure on policy development. I also worked as a research assistant somewhere, and that has also given me the experience on policy development. So yeah, and then even in my current role as a managing partner, I still manage people. I offer advisory services on policy issues, and I think that has prepared me for the roles that is required for this commission.
All right. How many people are in your management at your law firm?
We're two partners.
Your two partners.
Yes.
And members of staff?
Including support, I have 3 advocates and 5 support staff.
Okay. So you speak about the policy formulation
Yes.
as one of the key mandate
Yes.
of the IBC.
Yes.
I assume
Yes.
in reference to its mandate of
Yes.
elections and other things. So what how do you now, bringing in your responsibility, your experience in policy formulation, what policies do you foresee being engaged in, and how do you assist the IBC in realization of its mandate to policy development?
If I got your question correctly, you're asking about what policies I'll
you have explained to us that previously in your own work experiences,
yes.
you have been involved in policy development.
Yes.
Now, out of that experience,
yes.
Can you explain to us some of the areas that you foresee you could engage in policy development at the IBC in order to ensure that IBC realizes its mandate?
So,
how are you going to get involved, and what areas are those?
I think one area that I'll want to develop a policy will be issues relating on technology, considering the impact it has on the performance of the commission and on the performance of its function. Another area will be whether or not if it exists, well and good, we'll strengthen it. If it doesn't, then we'll develop it and its own monitoring and evaluation framework, and probably a governance charter if it doesn't exist.
Okay, allow me to do a follow-up question.
Okay.
Let's speak technology.
Okay.
You spoke about technology as one of the areas that you foresee.
Okay.
Which areas particularly about technology are you seeing you getting involved in, or what recommendations are you making?
So technology is an evolving thing. Every day is a new concept, and in as much as the Commission is currently using technology, or rather it has used in its previous elections, but one of the areas probably I'll introduce is how do we intend to leverage, for instance, and probably at policy level on AI, like on voter education. How can we leverage it on voter registration process? How can we leverage technology on stakeholder engagements, for instance, and such aspects of it?
I expected you'd speak specifically, practically. What are those specific things that you'll do that we realize maybe?
I said voter registration using AI.
What about voter registration, for example? That technology you will get involved in policy development.
Well, in practical sense, let me pick the example of voter education. Voter education. So probably doing information simulations on voter education, on the role of the Commission, public awareness, and all that. Yes.
Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Allow me to ask Madam Koki Muli to also ask you some questions kindly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Wakili.
Yes.
It's still morning. Good morning again.
Good morning.
I would like to bring you now to the electoral cycle so that we can have a very brief discussion around it. You are aware of the electoral cycle?
Yes.
Could you tell the members of the panel and those that are watching you from home, what are the phases, not activities, the phases in the electoral cycle?
I think the The phases of the electoral cycle. I think the electoral cycle begins with voter registration and probably preceded by voter education. Voter education, which but the key element is the voter registration process, and then afterwards, within the period, of course, is voter or rather inspection of the voter register after that registration process. I don't know if I'm going into specifics or answering your question. The inspection of the voter register by the respective voters at grassroots level.
Thank you, Wakili.
Okay.
Let me ask you another question.
Okay.
Related, one of the activities in the electoral phases and the electoral cycle is the regular audits of the voters' register.
Yes.
Can you tell the panel why it is critical to audit voters' register and what we do with those audits?
So the reason as to why it is critical is to inspire, first of all, public confidence and trust in the commission.
Why?
Because
why do they inspire public?
Because it shows the transparency of the process. Like that this thing was generated in a very transparent process, and that is why it's a consistent recommendation after every election that voter register audits be done actually before the election. That is, and the same thing also extends to I think the technology that is in use.
Thank you very much, Wakili, and all the best. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Allow me to ask FCPA Tanwi to also ask you some questions. Tanwi, kindly.
Thank you, Chair. And Bwana Abdi.
Yes.
What is the nature of your PWD? The nature of your disability?
I didn't really get that question.
Huh?
I have an injury in my left leg, so it's physical.
It's physical?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
right, that is. Right leg, I said, sorry. I have a physical disability in my left right leg.
Your right leg?
Yes, and I've lived with it, so it's not a reason anything.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, having been admitted in 2017, that should be around 8 years. So what unique skill or expertise that you think you're bringing to IEBC, in the governance of IEBC? The specific one that we know, this is my expertise, this is the skill that will take IEBC to the next level.
So, as I said earlier, my experience starts before my admission, and I'm of diverse background. What I'm bringing is the resource mobilization skill, having worked in an environment that works on fundraising and project development, donor relations and all that, and considering the Commission always has funding deficits for its activities, I of the view that I'm bringing on board resource mobilization skills. Secondly, I've been engaged in dispute resolution in my practice, and representing the Commission and all that. So I'm bringing dispute resolution skills,
so
both in practice.
As I know, yes. I wanted the one that you were saying, this is me, this is Abdi.
And negotiation skills. I'm also bringing negotiation skills to the table.
So it's resource mobilization?
Dispute resolution skills and negotiations.
Now, what would you say on this statement that IBC should actually be funded 100% by government? It should not rely on any donor funding. What would you say on that?
I didn't get that question clearly, sir.
Saying,
yes,
there is this understanding or belief that the elections of this country should be funded by the government through national resources, rather than being funded by donors or external partners. What is your take on that? And I'm raising that on the basis that you said your key skill is resource mobilization.
Well, funding comes in different forms. It's both. It can be in kind, and there are repeatable international organizations that specifically focused on issues of elections. Don't necessarily have an interest in a country's or rather election, that is, and interest. I mean any personal interest. And it can come in kind, in form of training. For instance, UNDP has been a consistent partner of Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, and I don't think I agree with that conclusion.
Thank you, Chair. Wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Allow me to ask Evans Misati to also ask you some questions. Kindly, Evans.
Thanks so much, Chair. Abdi, allow me also to ask you a question.
Okay.
Related to the roles of the Secretariat, vis-a-vis the roles of the commissioners. If you find favor and get to be the commissioner of IPC,
yes,
what will you do if you find that some of the preparations which the Secretariat has done when the Commission was not there, particularly in the boundary delimitation and preparation of the work plan, have factored in the role of the commissioners? What will you do as a member of the Commission?
So to begin with, I've said earlier, the role of the commissioners is policy formulation, oversight, and that is oversighting the Secretariat itself and providing strategic directions. The role of the Secretariat is day-to-day management of the Commission affairs. So if I find that I'm appointed and I find that there is some responsibilities or activities that were the exclusive role of the commissioners that were undertaken by the Secretariat, then the reasonable thing to do and the legal thing to do will be to correct that, because it's something that affects the election process.
So are you saying you'll discard everything and cancel everything and start afresh?
Well, to the extent that, first of all, it's good to analyze the effect of that decision itself. What is the effect of that on the election process? Because the other stakeholders, and there is a reason as to why there is the constitutional requirement of the commissioners and the Secretariat. So if it's something is the exclusive reserve of the commissioners, and it has been done by the Secretariat, then definitely we have to correct it depending on the weight of that issue.
Thanks so much. Now, going back to the mandate of the Commission,
yes,
why do you think is the mandate of the commissioners, or rather the IPC as a body, to actually have a role in the code of conduct of the candidates and the parties?
Come again? I didn't get that question. Correct.
The development of the code of conduct.
Yes.
For the candidates and the parties participating in elections. Why do you think IPC has to be involved in the conduct of the parties? The parties and the candidates.
Code of conduct. The code of conduct of the parties and the candidates.
Yes.
Because it goes into the integrity of the election. then the Commission has a responsibility as per the Act and the Constitution to regulate political parties and candidates.
Chair, thanks so much. I wish you well.
Thank you, sir.
Abdi, asante.
Thank you very much. Ms. Fatuma Saman, kindly.
Thank you, Chair. And Abdi Hakim,
Yes.
I would understand why someone who was able to score an A from Habaswe in a secondary school would be able to have meaningful impact
Yes.
in their work and be able to contribute
Yes.
in a workplace even before they graduate. So,
Yes.
from an educator's point of view,
Yes.
it's exceptionality, yeah?
Yeah, I appreciate that part.
Yeah.
You see, we are brought up to take up responsibilities at an early age. And when we come to this town, we don't really depend on any siblings or you have to go, and even when you have a break and everything. So actually I have an interesting story. My first encounter with elections was when I was in my primary school, so that it doesn't become a surprise why I was working when I was in university. I was in class 7, and that is 202. There was recruitment of election officials. I had not even yet finished my primary schooling. So in my village, there was a shortage of electoral clerks for that election of 202. I was in class 7 then, and I participated in that election as a polling clerk. Of course, I faced frustrations in terms of my payments because I didn't even have an ID, but my presiding officer came to my rescue, and I was paid for the service that I've done. So I started that early.
Thank you very much for that. And as a member, if you are successful and become a member of the IEBC, how would you ensure that the Commission tracks and responds to media reports on its work, and how would, while doing that, maintain impartiality and neutrality and professionalism in the process?
So I think what I'll suggest, the way to track and respond to, you said media reports. I think that will be, I'll set up a communication monitoring unit, so that can track whatever information that needs to be clarified by the Commission. If it relates to an issue of disinformation, then probably even go further and utilize technology. If you've ever had, this is something they're calling Facebook election war room that was utilized in EU elections and India to counter disinformation, because it's an entire industry of its own that undermines the credibility of elections. And I think that is what I'll do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Nicodemus Bore, please come on and ask the candidate some questions.
Thank you, Chairman. Maybe to start off, would you say you are a Gen Z?
I don't think I'm a Gen Z, but I think I can be a link between the Gen Z and the yeah, because I've exited. I'm 36 now, but I can be a link and I can relate with the issues well.
So you are which set? You are an alpha?
Millennial.
You are a millennial?
Yes.
Okay. So do you think the advertisement that IEBC selection panel gave favors a Gen Z or a millennial?
Well,
in terms of qualifications?
Well, if you ask for my perspective, I think unless you do some, go the extra length, the way I have tried to supplement my experience, I think if you ask for my fair opinion, it's difficult for a Gen Z to fit into the requirements of the appointment for a commissioner, because it's not just about educational qualification. It goes beyond that, and that is the difficulty.
So do you think it's having watched the IEBC commissioners before and having looked at their job reference and the terms of reference, you think it's easy to acquire that experience, or you need to acquire it before you get to that work?
Acquiring, I don't know if I got you correctly, acquiring the experience?
You need to acquire some kind of experience before you are employed.
Definitely, because it's a high-stake job, and considering the nature of it and the different stakeholders that are involved in that process, it requires somebody with at least some bit of exposure of work to fit into that commission.
The reason why I'm asking this question is because Madam Vice Chair had asked you about the consultancy.
Yes.
And from experience, I believe consultancy, you need also to acquire some experience.
Yes.
And would you, if given a chance, will you change the CV to read consultancy support so that you don't have to answer so many hard questions about consultancy?
Well, I don't think I'll change anything because the way I explained is you can consult on what you know, and by the time I finish my law degree, I think I'll be able enough to educate my people and explain to them a constitutional document that is, for an upcoming referendum. I think if my law degree does not enable me to explain that these are the issues people are voting on, these are the issues people are voting on, and create awareness on that, then I think it's of no value. I don't have to do Kenya School of Law. In fact, constitutional law is not even a subject in Kenya School of Law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please tell these panels members a situation where you had to make critical decisions that could have been influenced either by nepotism, favoritism, or improper motives, and how you are able to face that situation and handle it.
So I think I said earlier that I worked in a fragile context. I was doing cross-border programs for an NGO. And in the course of duty of my work, I encountered multiple issues that I'll say were critical and it required critical decision-making. One such instance is, without going to the nitty-gritty of it, is a situation where some of our staff were actually abducted. By militias, and we had to maneuver and use the elder system, because if it would have come to the attention of the abductors that these were NGO staff, then it would have actually risked their life, because NGOs are not supposed to operate in that platform or other area. Another issue I'll say, that required continuous critical decision making is we were involved in a cash program, and what that brings is it brings multiple interests from different parties, be it government agencies or individuals who are working in government. We were giving money to people who are in internally displaced camps. So what that entails is there are people who are called gatekeepers of those IDPs, and we had to make the difficult decisions of maneuvering such an issue.
Thank you very much, and all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I want to ask Prof to ask you some questions kindly. Prof.
Thank you, Chair. And just like in your case with the first candidates, let me first declare that Abdi Hakim was my classmate when I did law in Gumbaru. So I was a student with millennials. I was already teaching at the university, but I was also a student. So every time my colleagues came, they would ask me, what are you doing here? I attended all the classes, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
So his pupillage and his admission coincides with mine. And unlike you and your former colleague, we have bumped into each other in the Nairobi streets.
Yeah, many times.
And he's always asked me, what are you doing? I've always asked him, what are you doing? So my questions is to my peer in the law profession. So Abdi Hakim, I want to follow up.
Yeah, Prof.
On what the Vice Chair and Bore have asked you.
Yes.
And they have asked it in good faith.
Yeah.
Where you say, you see, every profession has its nomenclature.
Yes.
And therefore, law has its nomenclature.
Yeah.
And what Vice Chair was trying to tell you is that in the legal profession, for one to be called a consultant, there are some certain foundational accomplishments that you might have. And I also heard you, in response, you kind of said that it's just semantics and words. Let me give you an example. When the Constitution of Kenya Review Commission was going around the country, I was a young scholar, already with a master's, already teaching at the University of Nairobi, and they engaged me to do research for them. And therefore, if you go to my CV, you'll find me saying researcher. My senior colleagues, in return, were writing thematic papers on particular areas to the CKRC. And if you go to their CV, they would write consultant. What Vice Chair and Bore were asking you, what you have also admitted, that in those engagements, it was a firm that got you because of the background of what you are. It incorporated you. You are not the being hired. You are being hired under the consortium of that firm. And therefore, you are not what they're trying to tell you, you are not the direct consultant. They are looking at the totality of the employees or the researchers or the expertise that particular firm has on board before it is. So the firm is doing the consultancy. But Abdi Hakim, what they're trying to communicate, Abdi Hakim himself is not the causer. Would you change? That's what they were trying to
persuade. I get you, Prof. And I clarified.
Change your description. I'm a consultant.
I get you. And I appreciate the question. And I know they're asking in good faith. What I wanted to clarify is this is in response to an advert. The word consultant is a relative word. Yeah? It doesn't necessarily speak of the number of years. It depends with the specific situation. An agency advertises for an assignment. Yeah? And that assignment has terms of reference which you have to download. It says that you should have people of this background. You should have a team leader, for instance. If the consultancy relates to financial issues, it says team leader with a background of finance, probably a PhD in finance. It goes ahead and says the composition of the team.
I think just respond to him.
Yeah, I'm
Were
trying
you,
to.
because of time,
yeah.
were you a consultant or were you
I'm coming.
assisting the consultancy? That's what he's trying to ask you.
So I'm coming.
Just respond to it directly.
Okay, I'm coming to that. So the terms of reference included in these specific assignments. There were team leaders.
Just trying to get
Yeah.
So you
There were team leaders.
You want to
and then
stick-
there was a requirement for somebody with a law degree. Yeah.
You want to stick to you are consultant. I think that's what you are getting.
Yes, because the advert
Thank you.
said
I think
a lawyer
that's right.
with law background only.
Thank you.
Basic degree. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My other question relates to if we were to make you an IEBC commissioner, can you tell us, in your professional background, have you been involved in the improving of the image of a brand that had a negative public image, where using your skills and knowledge, you promoted public confidence in that organization, and how would you bring that to IEBC, if at all there you have had such an experience?
I don't think I understand the question. That have I been engaged in promoting?
In your professional background,
Yes.
consultancy,
Yes.
and any other work you have done,
Yes.
your degree,
Yes.
have you had an occasion in which you are working on an institution that had a bad image, and you helped improve its image? And if you have had such experience, how would you use the same in IEBC? But if there has not been none on that, I can ask a different question.
I can't really say I worked in an organization with bad image, but I participated in development of, or rather improvement of an organization.
And how will that improvement impact on IEBC? How would you improve, using that experience, how would you improve IEBC given the challenges and trust deficit that it suffers?
So I appreciate the challenges that IEBC is having, and part of it, as you said, is issues of trust deficit. One way I'll try to help in that is transparency in its operations, be it the use of technology or an audit of the voters register, continuous stakeholder engagements, and incorporation of the views of both the public and all stakeholders to the extent that they align with the constitutional mandate of IEBC.
Chair.
Okay, thanks. I need to ask you a question again.
Yes.
You finished your KCSE in 2007.
Yes.
And when did you join university?
I joined in 2010.
What happened in between?
So I was admitted to the University of Nairobi. First of all, so that I get to explain that, I took a 1 year, I deferred for 1 year. And because I didn't have, I insisted, my preference was medicine. So I consistently applied, and probably I was misguided, but I consistently applied for medicine. I was given actually suggestions outside University of Nairobi, but I insisted on doing medicine at the University of Nairobi, and I could not get it. So when I could not get it, I was told to choose another program, and by then it was too late.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
Prof, your last questions?
Chair, as I ask my question, let me say that when I was there, classmates, they were Gen Zs then. They never salimiated me, so it means I was in their good books. Now, the youth are now a sensation. And in Senegal last year, they elected a president who is a youth. Do you know his name?
Yeah, it's called, I don't know how it's pronounced, but Basiro Fire or something.
And my last question, what is the name of the acting chief executive officer of the National Youth Council? And I can give you a leakage. She was our classmate.
Yeah, I know. Her name is Gloria.
That was our classmate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How, Prof, if you ask people about their classmates? Okay. It's been nice listening to you, Abdi Hakim, and I appreciated the time we have shared together.
Yeah.
I want to allow you to ask a question or make a comment so that we can release you kindly.
I don't really have a question. Mine is to take this opportunity to thank this commission, or rather selection panel, the chair and all honorable panelists for the opportunity that you have granted me to appear before you and actually being shortlisted. I don't take that for granted. We rarely get such an opportunity, and if I make it, I think I'll make my contribution to the country. If I don't make it, I wish whoever is given that position the best of luck, and I'll still make a comment that in your own wisdom, may you find it fit to include a PWD, and it doesn't have to be me in this process, so that you also remember in history. And thank you.
Thank you. We are seized by that fact. Thank you, and
Thank you.
We appreciate your coming. Thank you. Please remember to pick your certificates. You can now proceed. You get them at the door. Thank you.